Welcome to the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Interviews, a series we created to give even more exposure to startups from the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Network. Today I'm here with David Levy of OrbitMI. OrbitMI is an SAS company, and it offers vessel performance and maritime intelligence as a platform to manage global fleets more efficiently, profitably, and sustainably. So welcome, David. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Leo.
Hi, David. So how are you? Where are you now?
I am in my home office in Connecticut, which, if people don't know, is about 40 miles north of New York City, northeast.
Beautiful. You have a beautiful greenery outside of your bay window. I'm very jealous of bay windows because I live in England, and so bay window, you know, it's home here. And actually, long time ago, I wanted to buy a house, and it had to be a bay window. Then eventually, I didn't buy anything, but this is another story. So beautiful setting, beautiful Connecticut. I know it's the place for the preferred place for sailing. I'm a sailor. But let's leave this discussion for some other time. Let's talk about you and your company. So tell us something about OrbitMI. I think are you a founder? How did you come about it? What does it do?
Sure, be happy to tell a little bit of the story. I run marketing, chief marketing officer at OrbitMI, yep. And we've been in business for about a year now. But we were a successful corporate spinoff from Stena Bulk. The platform itself was called Orbit, and Stena had developed it over the course of a number of years and had the foresight a few years back to say we should sell this, market this to the rest of the industry, not just because it could potentially be financially beneficial to Stena, but also because it could help kind of bring the overall industry into more digital transformation, help it be more sustainable. And through the course of that, those investigations on how to do that, they met my CEO, a guy named Ali Riaz, at Stanford University, where Ali was teaching. And the conversation started there. And they said, we would love to spin this company off, and we'd like you to run it, be the CEO. So that was a couple of years ago, and Ali brought me on to help run marketing. And so we've kind of taken possession of the product itself, which is really stable, has been working for a number of years. And our job now is to take this and market it to the rest of the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super interesting. I really I love this story because it's the story of a company who had the vision and the foresight to create an innovative product, but not keep it just for themselves, as much as release it sort of to the world as an independent company, as I understand it is now. So it's not just for their own benefit, but for the benefit of the entire ecosystem. And in fact, this is, I think, the key the key fact in maritime. We have to think as an ecosystem, and there are very few players, unfortunately, so far. There have been very few players who are able to do this, and definitely right. Stena Bulk has been one of these. So congratulations to Stena, and of course, congratulations to Ali Riaz and to you and to all the team for being now on board of this very buoyant startup. So how buoyant is the startup? So how are you doing with customers, with clients? I guess you have already existing clients. How does it work?
So, Leo, we actually don't really consider ourselves a startup, right? We've taken possession of a product that's been in service for a number of years now. Stena Bulk continues to be our customer, and they're one of our investors. But we are bringing the product to market. We've got a number of proofs of concept with other companies in the industry, and we are having a lot of conversations about potential partnerships, investors, and companies that are interested in being the among the next users of Orbit. So we're in pretty good shape in terms of funding, customers, and every day that goes by, from a technology standpoint, you get new users trying things, testing things, giving you feedback. So the platform itself continues to be updated, refined, adding new features to it. So it's really somewhat of an innovation platform itself because of the way it was built. So we're very happy, and we know we're very fortunate in these times that we've got all of those things I just described.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I would say you're not a startup, as in you're just starting up. I use the term very broadly by saying a company that started up and that is growing, that hasn't converted yet into an established company with like a stable setting, stable number of clients, or growing possibly, but the traditional regular company. And I guess it might be that this will be the way any company in the future will have to be or become. They will have to be startups for all their lives, because everything is changing. As you say, you are testing and doing, like in a lab, new things every day.
Well, I think in that, with your definition, my reaction is that in the United States, startup means something very, very different, right? And for us, we're more of a small company, right? So we are a stable company. We are, we've got systems and processes and and customers, right? So we're essentially on our own. But like every other company, you still need to please your customers. You need to grow, right? So we're, we don't call ourselves a startup. I don't call myself a co-founder. Neither does Ali. We're owners of the company because we have equity stakes in it. But we're like I said, we're really fortunate that that we are where we are.
Yeah. So, but yes, you are growing, and you are expanding with new customers. As you mentioned, proof of concepts and so on. So apart from Stenabulk, how is it going with other clients? So you are in proof of concept with other clients, or you have also like paying customers?
Yeah, so we have proofs of concept with a couple of other companies, which have either been accelerated or paused, depending on how they were impacted by
COVID,
for sure. But we've got a couple of that are ongoing as well. We've actually taken the opportunity here during this time to really kind of tighten up a little bit on our marketing messages, and really focus on our go-to-market strategies a little bit more, so we can scale a little bit. Right, so you'll see we're starting a program with Lloyd's List, which actually launched today. We're going to be doing a webinar with them on June 30th, and we've initiated what we hope is going to be a long-term marketing partnership with them. So you're going to start to see our name out there as we hope to be a thought leader and a player in the industry, and hopefully as people get to know us and how we think, that they'll come to us, as maybe a solutions provider for them.
Yeah, and actually, I realize now that in the beginning you told us about how OrbitMI was born, but I sort of forgot to ask, what does it do actually? What does OrbitMI do? Because I read just one sentence basically at the beginning, but it would be good to understand better, what does it do for their customers, for your customers?
Sure. Well, it's a SaaS platform, right? And it started as an operational platform for onshore ships operators to be able to manage their vessel, right? Make sure they're getting from point A to point B safely, profitably, right? And then as the use cases within the organization multiplied, then more people began to use it. So what the great thing about the product is that it was built by experts, right, who knew what they needed to deliver in the short term.
Yeah.
So the operations people needed to deliver profitability, for instance. The chartering team needs to deliver revenue at the top line. Like the bunkering team needs to make sure that their procurement of bunkers is as efficient as possible, and on and on and on. So it was built to incorporate different use cases and different data feeds. So it becomes kind of a platform for commercial operations for anyone who owns and or operates a fleet of vessels. And we work with pool operators, but it becomes a platform that's kind of a single source of the truth for all the information that you need, but people can use it both in the day-to-day, such as the operators, right? And we've got a mobile platform, so if they need to be notified of a vessel that is perhaps over-consuming its bunkers, or is going too slow, or they're drifted off course in some way, they can be notified of that. But also the rest of the organization can then take a look and say, well, what's happening in the marketplace over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, so they can make some business decisions. And then because of the way the system is developed, we have historical information, and you can do a lot of like what if scenarios, Leo. So
Nice.
If you're doing some strategic planning, say more like 6 months out, 12 months out, you can pull the same data that everyone in the organization is using, but you can do it in a different way. So you might say, let me look at what the global fleet of VLCCs was doing in June of 2019 and 2018, and see what patterns were there. And then you can make some decisions and say, maybe going forward, we need to deploy our fleet somewhere differently, or we need to be rethinking about where what ports our vessels are going into. So it becomes, as I mentioned before, it's a operations platform, but it's also an intelligence platform. And then finally, because it was built to be what we call future-proof, right? It's not a siloed system. It's meant to be easily integrated with other providers' solutions or with other data feeds. It's kind of an innovation platform. So, you might have people in your organization who say, I wonder if we could have the platform solve this particular problem. And it becomes very easy for us because we're absorbing so much data. The question then just becomes, well, how do we visualize that? What do you want to see, and how do we deliver it? And a great example of that is, in the requirements for reporting around IMO 2020, right? So, obviously it's definitely a bigger issue about 7 months ago or 8 months ago, but we're collecting all the data that you would need to report, whether that's to the EU or to the IMO, or maybe even to your internal stakeholders or board. So now it's just a matter of okay, we've got the data, let's create a report and a feature that delivers that. So, whereas, it may have started with operations as the main users, now because of the artificial intelligence behind it and the data, we now can create these other kinds of integrated business solutions that can address other issues in other groups in the organization. And the great thing is, it doesn't take months and years to develop a new solution. It takes, weeks, months. So
okay, that's interesting, and I like the idea of the platform. Actually, we are also a platform for something different, but the platform is a very powerful concept, particularly when you want to integrate different parts together. Now, so the question is, are you working, are you planning to work, or are you open to work with other startups providing different, say, data feeds or different sources of information that might integrate and enhance what you're doing, and vice versa?
so the short answer to that is yes. The slightly longer answer to that is absolutely yes. Our we our background is in software, frankly, and we have seen how software markets in other industries have started, and then where they've failed, have gotten caught up in different obstacles. And one of the obstacles that software companies get into is they sometimes compete too early in their evolution because they believe that their main goals is to generate revenue for themselves, right? And that's obviously, we all want to generate revenue, but for us, we look at it and say, what does the customer need, right? And so if the customer needs another data feed or another solution or technology that we can't provide, we absolutely will say, well, if our customer needs a best-in-class technology, and there are other people out there, we want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. So we're always having those kinds of conversations and always looking for other data feeds, because although we have, 14, 15, 16 different data feeds coming in, we're always looking for other ones because we've got the ability to apply, artificial intelligence and machine learning that just makes the information that comes out smarter. So strategically, collaboration is one of our main pillars in how we want to go to market. So if there's anyone here who's watching and has a startup and is, maybe in kind of a more narrow point solution that's looking for, traction or is interested in being part of, a bigger platform, absolutely, that's what we're all about.
Yeah, let's talk. And in fact, this is an important piece of the things that we are trying and that we will do with our new platform, that is connecting startups like you that have opportunities, that represent opportunities also for other startups to join, in a way that you will be able to post, for example, a search for a startup that does XYZ, something that you need for a particular project, and this will be posted in a section that is reserved only to startups. So only startups will see it. So you won't be sort of giving out too much of your weak points or whatever, or your needs in terms of commercial needs, and this will represent a place of encounter, of meeting, of different demand and supply of different bits and pieces that are interesting for customers and that startups together can really cooperate. So I really hope to see you benefit also from this new platform that we are going to launch soon. And that was my small
that's commercial for startup board. Good for you.
yeah. So well, that's. I think it's all great now. I understand pretty well what you're doing. You say you're an established company, but you also need to grow. So one question could be, what kind of funding did you receive so far? But it's pretty clear. You came out of a corporate, a spin-off of a corporate. Are you now in fundraising for growth, or what are the plans? If it's something that you can share, of course, this is a public interview, so.
Sure. I want to be clear. We've got funding and investment, and we have paying customers, but we are not comfortable whatsoever. Like any company that's got a board of directors, we are being called on to perform every day and to drive growth and revenue and cut costs, especially in this environment. So we have our feet to the fire every day, and we're trying to make sure that we're delivering to our customers, because that's where it all starts, right? If you can't please your customers and add value to them, you're not going to be able to raise additional funds. But in terms of where we are now, we're actively seeking additional capital. Probably it depends on what the type of investor is. You're a strategic investor, yeah, or other type of investor, but you're probably seeking between 5 and 20 million over the course of the next several months. You know, as some of these proofs of concept come online, and other things potentially happen, that number that we ask for or will seek may increase. But yeah, we're like I said, we're okay right now, but you know, we are a small company, but if we want to achieve, you know, anything close to our vision, and you know, as be one of, you know, be part of your ecosystem and be one of the premier platforms in maritime, we've got to get bigger and bigger. So we'll do that by, you know, seeking investment, getting new customers, right, and all of that. So,
of course, yeah, seeking investment, putting it to good use, and growing, and well, changing, because actually a startup, or even if you don't want to call yourself a startup, but a spin-off, a small company, is different from a growing company, and is still different from an established company. And it's a process that you go through, and where you develop your business, but also you need funding, you need capital to do it. And actually, the farther you go, the less risky the capital is, and in fact, the kind of investment changes. Size is bigger, but risk is lower. So, well, that's great to hear. 5 to 20 millions. Well, that's ambitious. But definitely with this background and with these credentials, you certainly can make it. So an investor here, I would say large VCs or probably smallish private equity firms. Probably too early for private equity, but whatever strategies. Every company, every investor has their own strategy.
If there's one thing that I know from having worked with, you know, the team here for a while, is that we have the ability to raise capital. Because we've and Ali Riaz in particular he's, you know, if you look at his background, you know, he's built and sold a number of companies over the years. So raising funds is not necessarily the problem or the concern. It's, you know, we understand, and particularly Ali understands, when you need to raise funds, from whom you need to raise funds, because sometimes you know, the worst thing you can do is to raise too much money, right? If you raise too much money, then your incentives change. What your investors want may not be where you want to go. So for us, we've been really, really methodical and careful about how we build our company, and who we partner with, because we want to find the right investor at the right time who can help us, you know, help us grow and achieve our vision, versus just get a whole bunch of money.
Yeah. It's not just the pile of cash. Is who you get it from and what they bring to the table aside of on top of the money. So what's the ideal profile? Just to close, because now we spoke about it, but we didn't say what's the ideal investor profile for you.
You know, I don't know if there's an ideal investor profile. I mean, Ali would have to speak more towards that. But you know, in the worlds of kind of, you know, smart money versus not smart money, right? You know, we're seeing, we're talking to investors who understand the industry, right, and understand the opportunity to increase, you know, sharing of data, who see the growth of ecosystems and platforms, and see that that we have an asset that could help achieve their visions as well. So, you know, a lot of the investors and people who we would talk to, maybe they have their own platform, right, and they want to co-invest and partner. So there's lots of different versions of it. So, you know, we're, like I said, we're looking for more than just to your phrase, a pile of cash or a pile of euros, right? We're looking for someone who can take us to sort of the proverbial next level of our development, but also really in the end, are they helping us meet the needs of the end customer? right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to just build and develop software and platforms and features that no one wants to buy, right? We want to make sure that, okay, whoever's going to invest us is going to push us in a direction. And as long as on the other side of that direction are other paying customers who want to buy what we're building, then that's great. So, you know, if I were to say that the ideal, you know, investor is someone who's got, you know, one ear to the industry and can hear what we're doing and hear what the needs are of the end customer and say, that's an opportunity, that's a company that I want to invest in because I can please, you know, these customers.
Yeah. So it's what you typically call smart money and alignment of vision between the company and the investor. So pretty clear now. Investor, be warned. This is what you have to bring to the table. Now, seriously, I think that it's a clear picture. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you say that because, you know, for me as a marketer, you know, one thing that I've learned over my career, and I've been in digital marketing and software marketing for a very, very long time. You know, you want to get to know very quickly, right? And so you want to tell as clear of a story as you possibly get so someone can make a determination very quickly whether we're not right for you. Because we don't have time to waste in convincing someone or educating someone about what we do or the market, right? So if we could tell a good story, we'll get enough of the right people, customers, partners, who can then move quickly to us and say, okay, if you try to be wishy-washy and say, well, we want this, but we might want that, then no one knows what you really are all about. And it just slows things down. And you know, to your point, you know, for us being a small company, one of the advantages that we have is we can move quickly. So we really want to have a clear message to the marketplace, both customers, partners, and investors, so they can evaluate us and go, yes or no.
Yeah. And I hope that our platform, the ecosystem, can help also in this direction to give more visibility to the startups and so more understanding about what they do and quicker decisions as to I want to talk to David. I want to talk to OrbitMI because I already understand that they are that we are on the same wavelength. So definitely, great strategy. Show who you are, and then let other people decide, and you decide with them that you work together. So great. Longish interview, much longer than usual, but I'm very, very happy because we covered, I think, all the bases. I love seeing startups of any kind growing, or small companies of any kind growing. But of course, this is the maritime startup ecosystem. So in one way or another, I have to call you a startup.
We're perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. Okay, it was great having you here today. David Levy, OrbitMI. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, David. Bye.